All right. Shalom, shalom, Barakatah family. Let us know if you can hear us. We just want to make sure that you can hear us. We need to check our audio as usual to make sure that we don't have any technical difficulties. So for those of you that are on the Zoom call, just put a 1 in the chat. For those of you that are listening on TikTok, put a message in the chat saying I can hear you. And for those of you that are on YouTube, if you're viewing this or listening to this on YouTube, go ahead and make a comment saying, I have entered the room and I can hear you. I have entered the room and I can hear you. We just want to make sure, right? We don't want to go back and check and then realize that we had no audio, That would not be good. That would not be good. All right. So if you all can see the screen, you should be able to see a purple and gold Genesis Gateway Roundtable discussion image on your screen. Just want to make sure that you all can see. All right, so I think we are in session number 9, if I'm not mistaken. Session number 9. So we've been doing this for a little while now, at least over 2 months, right? So tonight's discussion is going to be an interesting one. We're going to talk about the dread of checking the mail. The dread of checking the mail, expecting another bill or legal notice. Ooh, it's like the boogeyman, right? And, we're not trying to make light of it. We understand that a lot of people have anxiety and stress, surrounding the different various issues that they're having with their financial situation. And so when you go and check your mailbox, it can be kind of stressful. Because every month, those bills are going to keep coming. They just keep coming month after month after month, the same old bill. And so a lot of people have a dread of checking the mail because they know that another month has passed, right? So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Mikael. Mikael, are you there? Testing, testing. How's your audio this week?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So this topic that we're discussing tonight, the dread of checking the mail, what is it that the people need to know?
In the society that we live in, we have been programmed from the moment we get up to the moment we go to bed. And we all get up and we head off to work. Some of us may grab breakfast or we may just grab brunch. But somewhere down the road during the day, someone is going to be checking that mail, whether it be the husband, the wife, the man or the woman, whether it be the child that comes in from school, picks up the mail, and they carry it inside. So they reach their residence and place that mail on a table or desk so the responsible party can address whatever is in the mail. But that adult, that responsible party, is very nervous and excited at the same time. They're nervous because it may be something they don't want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, they're curious to say, maybe it's that $1 million sweepstakes check that I've always wanted. And so they race to that mail and find out that it's not the sweepstakes multi-million-dollar check that they've always dreamed of. It is one bill after another after another.
Mm-hmm.
So in that scenario, we have to realize the effect that those bills are having on us in our home, in our residence, where we lay our head, where we spend time with our family, where we cook meals, where we sit down at the table and eat dinner together. This is not supposed to be a residence of stress. And those bills bring on stress and more stress and more stress. And so now you get up the next day and you realize you're in a monotony of a situation where you know tomorrow you're going to check the mail. You're going to receive the mail. And what you receive in the mail is more bills stacked on the bills from the day before. That is not the approach that you should have. So when it comes to the mail and it has a name on it, that name represents an estate. And so if this is not the residence for the estate, then that mail is supposed to go somewhere else. Where else could that mail go to? But we know the residence is not the address for the estate. It has to be separated so that no mail coming to the house will give you panic attacks. No mail coming to your residence will cause stress while you're at home trying to be peaceful, enjoying your family. So any mail that you dread seeing, if you dread that mail, it should be going to another address. That's the first step. The most important step is to give that mail a different address so that when you come home to your peace, it is not interrupted by stress. So separating that mail and sending it to a different address, an address set up solely for the benefit of the estate of, is the first step that anyone or everyone must acknowledge and put in place. Now, the estate is responsible for those bills. We'll call them bills, but the estate is responsible for those bills. And so now the stress has been transferred to a different address. Feels good already. Now you can come home and smile, and it'd be a real smile. Now you can come home to the peace. Now you can enjoy your family without being stressed. No panic attacks. Feels good. Now it's time to address the estate issues. And that's going to be important that you understand that you can address those estate issues from a different perspective and get satisfaction and never lose your smile and never be stressed and never have a panic attack because you saw something, you received something in the name of the estate and you don't know how to handle it. So now we're moving into a whole different arena, different perspective or angle. And now we can look at this situation or scenario from clear eyes, new eyes, open mind, and deal with the bills from a perspective that is not a bad thing. Anytime you receive mail, you should know that it is a benefit to you. Even if it is a bill, there's a benefit in that for you. But no one has ever told you what that benefit looks like. They never have. Every bill you receive at the estate address is an opportunity for you to win for many reasons. Now, we won't go into all the reasons this evening, but we want to address some key factors tonight. So when you look at those bills, there is a way for you to handle all of those bills because it is an accounting transaction. And in every accounting transaction, you should be receiving because whatever goes out comes back. And if it doesn't come back, there's something wrong. If anyone has ever worked in a factory and that factory has different machinery, the machinery is set up for you to put something in it. But what comes out is better than what went in. I've worked in the industry, manufacturing industry, and I've had to deposit something in the machines. And on the other end of the machine, I received something that was better than what I put into the machine. And it was more valuable than what I put into the machine. It went in at $300. It came out at $4,000. In today's society, it works the same way. An entrepreneur would never invest in anything if he wasn't going to receive a greater return. In the financial world, in the accounting world, if you pay 4%, you're planning on receiving double that or more. So when you look at the bills, look at it from a new perspective, that you're going to receive something in return. Nadiva, did you want to add anything?
Yes, I was just going to say that it's time to stop worrying and start administrating. When you know how to properly administrate your estate or your trust, you're placing yourself in a better position. That's number one. Number two, just like Mikhail said, there should be no bills coming to your house, right? So if you're moving forward with proper administration, you know that there needs to be a separation between the living soul and the estate. There has to be a clear separation. There has to be a distinction. And one of those first distinctions is to deal with the address. There should be no mail coming to your place of abode where you lay your head. Because if you're receiving mail at your house, you are identifying and accepting the position as debtor. Automatic, right? And so you have to establish a new residence for the debtor. The word residence is a fictional term. It's a legal term. It's not the same thing as a place of abode for the living soul, right? It's not the same thing. When you look at the terms that are currently being used in society, you will come to find that they're fictional overlays of the real thing, right? So a residence is a legal term. A male is a legal term. A female is a legal term. The Most High created man and woman, right? So when you're looking at a residence, that's a legal term that they're utilizing to define where the estate lives. And so you have to ask yourself a question. Are you the name that appears on your driver's license? Are you the legal, fictional, all caps name? And if you're asserting that you're not that name, then that means that you should not be receiving any mail in the name of the legal person at your house. Because if you're doing that, there's no distinction. And so you're not in a position to begin to properly administrate because you're automatically accepting the position as debtor and you're being identified as the legal name associated with the estate. So there has to be a separation there. There has to be. And so every time that you look at a piece of mail that comes to the address that you have designated as the residence of the estate, it is an opportunity. It is a taxable event. There is something that needs to be done. There's something that needs to be reported. Are you in a position to properly report that taxable event? These are some of the questions that you have to begin to ask yourself. These are assets that are being deposited to your trust. Do you know how to properly receive that property? Do you know how to convert that property into values into your bank account, right? So when you're receiving mail at your house that you perceive to be a debt, you got to think, okay, well, what's the flip side of this? Because as Mikhail brought out in previous sessions, there's two sides to the ledger. There's the debt side and there's the asset side. So you have to ask yourself a question, which side of the ledger are you operating from? And do you know how to properly administrate to where you can take that bill and flip it from a liability to an asset? That was one of the things I wanted to bring out. And so we have,
Thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome.
So you have a decision to make. Should you decide to move forward as the surety? But if you decide to move forward as the surety, you need to understand what that means. So a surety is a person, could be a company, that guarantees another's debt, guarantees their performance or the obligation to a third party. by promising to step in and fulfill that obligation if the principal fails. Now, who is the principal? The debtor. You are not the debtor. So if you are not the debtor, who are you? Because the debtor is the principal. You are the surety. They never called you the debtor. They called you the surety for the debtor. You have to understand what that means, because there can only be one debtor. And if you are the surety, you are not the debtor. You must be the creditor. And if you are the creditor, you do not want to be the surety for any debtor whatsoever. And by receiving the principal's mail at your abode, you have become the surety for the debtor. Who is responsible for the principal? The estate. The estate should be the responsible party or the surety for the debtor, not you. You are the creditor. But you have to learn how to control the debtor. And we may go into that a little deeper at a later time.
There is something that people need to pay attention to that they may not realize is happening when they sign for a loan or a credit card, whatever the case may be. And this is something that is in their code. And I want to bring it out because it's literally right in front of our faces, right? And it's happening all the time. So I'm going to pull something over on the screen, and I just want to read this because people need to understand that if they don't make the proper distinction and or divorce between the living soul and the SS individual fiction, that they are automatically being placed in a position as surety. All right, so I'm going to bring this over, and I need for you all to tell me if you can see my screen. Now, I've gone over this before on previous occasions. Years ago, I taught about this, right? Because I'm trying to bring out the fact that the living soul is acting as surety for the SS individual's debts. The SS individual is the debtor. You, the living soul, you are not the debtor. So when you go to sign for a consumer credit transaction, you are essentially co-signing for the debtor fiction. It says, in connection with the extension of credit to consumers and or affecting commerce as commerce is defined in the Federal Trade Commission Act. It says, a deceptive act or practice within the meaning of Section 5 of that act for a lender or retail installment seller, directly or indirectly, to misrepresent the nature or extent of cosigner liability to any person. The person is the fiction. So essentially what this is saying is that the lenders are misrepresenting your position as the original beneficial owner of record when you step into a bank or you go to sign for a car or a mortgage. They know that you are the beneficial owner, but they're misrepresenting your position and placing you in a suretyship position. They're not telling you that you're acting as the surety for the debtor. So they're deceiving you by not informing you that you are co-signing for an entity that is not yourself. It says an unfair act or practice within the meaning of Section 5 of that act for a lender or retail installment seller, directly or indirectly, to obligate a co-signer unless the co-signer is informed prior to becoming obligated. So they have to inform you of your beneficial owner position. And every single time you go in, guess what? They never tell you. They allow you to step into a suretyship position for the debtor. It says, which in the case of open end credit shall mean prior to the time that the agreement creating the cosigner's liability for future charges is executed of the nature of his or her liability as cosigner. Are y'all seeing this? You are being placed in a cosigner position, surety position, obligatory position for the debtor. You are not the debtor. So when we're talking about you receiving mail at your house, this is what you're agreeing to. And so last week we spoke about the invisible contracts, right? This is another one of those invisible contracts that you weren't aware of because they don't tell you. And they're supposed to disclose this to you up front, and they never do. They never do. And I bet that you all didn't even know that that was even a thing. This is why you have to know who you are. If you don't know who you are unknowingly placing yourself in a position of surety. So you have to control the SS individual for your benefit, right? Not assume it's debt. There has to be a separation. Does that make sense? Is this making sense to people? Just let us know if you understand what's being brought out. And this is why you have to assert the separation, because there's a legal presumption on the table if you don't assert your position in divorce from the SS individual. And this is huge. And this is the main reason why people have a dread of checking the mail. This is why they have a dread of checking the mail, because they have not asserted themselves in proper capacity. Y'all gonna have to let me know if this is making sense. I need to see some comments. Put your comments in the chat. If you're listening on TikTok or if you're listening on YouTube, put your comments in the chat. Yeah, this is actually what's happening out there. And they're not telling you that you're co-signing. They're not telling you that. They're not telling you. Yeah, it makes sense, right? It's crazy. All of these little nuances and the fine print and all of these things that they never tell you, but you know that they say ignorance is no excuse, so this is why we have to study. Right, she said it makes sense and it's absolutely maddening. It is very maddening because, oh man, this is why I don't like legalese anymore. I used to enjoy studying consumer law, but I don't like it because I understand its implications. We have to come in from a higher perspective, a higher jurisdiction, so that we don't have to use these codes to defend ourselves. You understand? So I'm so thankful now that I no longer have to continue to learn and teach legalese, because it is a form of witchcraft, number one. Number two, it's so convoluted that a person can study for years and still not know how to defend themselves. And this is why we know that we have to step out of Babylon. This entire series is based on the financial woes of Babylon, all of these invisible traps that people are being placed in, and they have no clue what's happening out here. They have absolutely no clue. And this is how the system is designed. So we have to be educated enough to know what's happening. But in everything that we do, we already have to have our paperwork set up so that we're in position beforehand going into these contracts, because you still have to have the ability to conduct commerce, right? Unless you're going to go live off grid, and even if you go live off grid, you still have to be able to be self-sustaining. So you still have to pull down values. And I can almost assure you that nobody is ready to go and live off grid right now. So you have to do enough commerce in order to get yourself in position to pull those values down, right? But while you're doing that, you still have to assert your position as the original beneficial owner, because otherwise they will continue to extract. They're going to continue to extract from the estate. That's what the system is designed to do. That's what they're designed to do. Someone says that even applies as they get you to sign as guarantor. Absolutely. Absolutely. They're always coming after the social. They want the signature. They want the social because they know that that is the conduit under which they can utilize to extract. They're always coming after that signature. But if you know how to control the signature, then you can control the contracts, right? And so if you know how to secure that signature, You can open up the signature for specific instances, giving them permission to do certain things, but it should not be automatically accessible across the board, especially if you're signing in a way that is, there's no designation on the signature, right? It's an unqualified endorsement. And that's another thing. We have to know how to sign. So this is why there is such a huge dread of checking the mail, because many people have gotten themselves into these contracts and they don't know how to get out. They don't know how to make it stop. Mikhail, is there anything that you wanted to add? I'll turn it back over to you, because I can keep going. All right, so until he returns. Now here's the thing. Not only do you have to deal with the mail that's coming to your house, that's number one, obviously, right? That's number one. Secondarily, you want to begin to learn the proper procedures in order to report those taxable events that we spoke of earlier. We just had a call with the group earlier today, and we were explaining to them about these taxable events and everything that is necessary in order to be able to do that, especially while operating through a trust, right? We stress the importance of being able to operate through a trust. But when you're placed in a position for proper administration, there are some things that you have to put in place to make sure that no one else is illegally administrating your estate without your permission. All right. One of those things is to make sure that you have the proper POAs in place. And when I say POA, that is a power of attorney for those who do not know. Part of the package with these invisible contracts is that these companies are placing you under a POA, which, unbeknownst to you, gives them the authority to execute certain things on your behalf behind the scenes, right? And they're essentially demonstrating that they have the ability to continue the transaction on the private side of the ledger after you've left the table. So after you've left the dealership, after you have left the closing table for the house, after you have signed for a credit card, whatever the case may be, that company has gained a POA, a power of attorney, over your estate that you unknowingly gave them just because you signed. And you didn't place the proper restrictions on your signature to prevent them from doing that. So what they did is they took your signature and they utilized it to monetize the account. And they're double dipping because they're coming back to you telling you that you have to pay the bill when they've already been paid. That is wickedness at the highest level. It's just pure wickedness. So when we speak about placing yourself in a position to properly administrate, one of the things that you have to do is you have to deal with that POA. You got to deal with the POA that you didn't know was there. Because when you deal with the power of attorney, you begin to direct those values back to your estate for your benefit and not theirs. Is this making sense? Is this making any sense? So this is, some of those invisible contracts that we spoke about. I think it was either last week or the week before. I can't remember. All right, you got to deal with that POA, because nobody should be accessing the estate account without your permission. And so that means that there's some paperwork that you have to file with the IRS. There's some paperwork that you have to file with your Register of Deeds. There's some paperwork that you may have to file with the courthouse, depending on how your county is set up in your state. There are some things that you have to file to make sure that you put the proper parties on notice to let them know that they are no longer operating under the original POA that was put in place when you signed the contract. This is what we call properly administrating. You want to put that POA in place, because guess what? Oh man, let me ask you all this question. Put in the chat, even if you just have to guess, it's okay. Just guess. Here's the question. I want you all to give me one thing that you think is being done on your behalf behind the scenes with this POA that I'm speaking about, this invisible POA. Give me one thing that you think is happening behind the scenes. And you all can just put it in the chat. If you're watching on YouTube, or if you're on TikTok, or even here on the Zoom call, just go ahead and put it in the chat. Just give me one thing that you think is being done behind the scenes. And let's deal with a credit card. Let's just deal with a basic account, which is a credit card. What is one of the things that you think is being done behind the scenes? One thing. Okay, someone says accessing your estate to draw down benefit. Absolutely. More specifically, as it relates to a credit card. Okay, someone else says taxes. Okay. What else? Anything else? Now we're talking about the POA, the power of attorney. Okay, someone else says securitizing the loan. Yes. Yes, these are all good answers. Good answers. So we have accessing your estate to draw down benefit, we have taxes, and we have securing the loan. Yes, all three are happening. Okay, someone else says they are paying off the outstanding balance on the credit cards. I wish that were the case, that they're paying off the outstanding balance. I wish that were the case, because that would mean that you don't have to pay, right? On their side. Okay, he says on their side. Okay, I understand. Yes, these are all great answers.
Well, think about that. If we are dealing with the enemy, and we could say the enemy is the credit card company, their goal is never to pay anything, not even taxes. They are in a position to receive. They're in receivership mode. They are not paying anything. They're not even paying taxes on what they are receiving until you come to the table and inform IRS of what they have received. They will never pay taxes. Right. That's why it's important for you to do what you are supposed to do, handle your business accordingly. And if you don't, they get away with murder, and you are left holding the smoking gun.
The hot potato. You're left holding the hot potato. Okay, so the one thing that I was looking for in these answers, and I think, let me scroll back up, I think somebody said it, is the taxes. Now, not filing taxes in the sense of, like the conventional sense of what people may look at in terms of what they consider filing taxes. No, I'm talking about specific tax forms are being filed on your estate account on your behalf as if they are you. So they have usurped your position as beneficial owner, and because they have this POA, they are filing 1099 forms on your behalf so that they can receive the check instead of you. That's what's happening behind the scenes. All because of the POA. Right. So someone says, so it is our responsibility to inform the IRS. Yes, ma'am. It is your responsibility to inform the IRS. If you have paid in excess of $600 in a Gregorian calendar year to any company, it is your responsibility to report to the IRS that that company has received income from your estate. $600. And I think I said this before on one of the other calls. Anything above $600, you're supposed to report. So because you're not reporting, they're reporting on your behalf, and they're getting the check instead of you, all because of the POA.
Yeah, we didn't really go into that in the other call because we would probably still be on that call right now. Because that would have caught them off guard. They're like, what? Yeah. But we'll circle back around to that other group as well. To really go deeper into that for them.
Yep.
So yeah, it is your responsibility to inform. If you do not inform them, you lose, not them.
Big time. Big time. Big time. You have to eliminate their ability for access. So let me say this. If you deal with the POA, let's say you get the proper paperwork in place where you eliminate the POA and you put another POA in place and something happens after the proper POA is in place. Let's say, for instance, you got all your paperwork in order. You got your POA on the record, right? And then let's say, for instance, you after the fact, you get pulled over and get a speeding ticket, or somebody sues you in court. This is after the POA, the proper POA. What just happened after the POA is put in place? What just happened if you get a speeding ticket, and I'm just using those two as an example. If you get a speeding ticket or somebody sues you in court after you put that POA in place, the proper POA, what just happened? What do you think? What happened? Or let me ask it like this. Did they have permission? Yes, that's a trespass. It's a trespass. Once that POA is in place, they are not supposed to be accessing that estate without permission. Because you revoked their POA, and then you're going to put another one in place. You got to write it up the right way. And something happens after that, they are not supposed to be accessing the estate. That's a trespass. And the IRS will enforce that POA against them. Yes, they will. Yes, they will. That's a trespass. All day, every day. So this is what we're talking about when we say stop being scared and start administrating. Because if you properly administrate your estate and you remove all of those other public fiduciaries who's administrating your estate under executor de tort, you just did what you needed to do to pull those values back to you. And you just got to know how to put this together. So there is going to be no more dread of checking the mail. Now you're going to be looking for letters that's confirming your position, releasing values back to you. No more dread of checking the mail. You're going to be excited to go and get the mail at this other address that you just set up that's not your house anymore.
Yeah, you definitely will be. There's so much on the table for you. Mail fraud. People don't talk about that enough because they don't understand it. They don't understand what the process is to catch them in mail fraud. That's another process that Nadiva and I also have on the table or under the table, whatever way you want to, explain it. But that's an option as well. There are multiple options for you to handle that mail that is actually being addressed to the estate.
Yep.
And what you can do with that mail, it is all placing you in receivership mode on the accounting. Think about that. You want to be on the credit side, not on the debt side. But you don't know how to handle the mail for the estate.
Mail. You just administrate. If you just know how to properly administrate, you'll be in a better position. You really, really will be in a better position.
Better financial position. And that's what everyone is looking for today. I was going to share the dollar bill with you. That's pretty eye-opening.
You want me to pull one up?
You can pull one up. If anyone has a dollar bill in their pocket right now, pull out the dollar bill.
I'm going to pull one over on the screen. Let's see. Okay. I guess I can probably pull up this right here.
You want to know how deceptive they can be?
Oh, I know where you're going. All right, here we go.
All right.
Screen?
So can someone come off the mic to read that sentence up there? Can you make it a little bigger so everybody can see that sentence? Or they can.
Let's see.
They can.
Is this what you want?
Yeah.
Right here. Okay.
I'll read it.
Thank you.
This note is legal tender for all debts, public, ding, 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 and private.
Thank you. We have read that so many times over our life, and we've never really connected the dots. I want to connect one dot for everyone tonight, and we'll leave you with this because you'll be sitting up for the next few hours on this one right here. And you may even try to reach out and contact us as well behind this one.
Reach out.
When you look at this, it says this note is legal tender for all debts. All debts. So that means all the bills that the estate receives has already been paid. They've already been paid. Who's paying them? Now, there's another paragraph that we could always put up on the screen that the United States is paying all those debts. They're responsible for all the bills.
Oh, that's 18 U.S.C. 8.
There you go.
Yep.
All right. So all debts, public and private. So public, we understand what it means, public debt. But you are not a U.S. citizen. So you handle these debts from a private perspective. You are not a citizen. Remember, you're the creditor. How do creditors handle debt? From a private perspective. All right? So, private debt. You have a Social Security card. And if you don't have a Social Security card, you have a card that means the same thing. It is a Social Security card. And everyone should know a Social Security card has two sides. What you see on the front is public. But what you see on the back is private. So you handle public debt from the front of the Social Security card. You handle private debt from the back of the Social Security card.
Oh.
And when you handle private debt from the back of the Social Security card, it doesn't come out of your public pocket.
Come on.
Now, when you go to the private side of your Social Security card, you will notice that it looks very similar to the number you see on this U.S. dollar bill, minus the F at the end. That is because the number on the back of your Social Security card matches the numbers on a dollar bill somewhere in the United States.
Boom. Mind blown.
You're not supposed to know that, ever. Now, I'm not going to tell you what to do with that, but I'm going to tell you that that number on the back is how you actually pay.
Hold on. Hold on, Mikael. I don't know if they're ready for that.
No, that's as far as I'm going now.
Okay.
They're not ready for it. They're not ready for it. Nope. They're not ready for it.
Tell us.
They're not ready for it.
Not on YouTube. Remember,
Not
y'all,
on
we
YouTube.
broadcasting, so.
Right. Yeah. No. As
And
far as I'm gonna go.
he said too much.
As
But yeah,
far as I'm gonna go.
that's a huge takeaway. Just y'all, you gotta think about this, okay? Just there is more. There is so much more happening behind the scenes. Um, there's too much happening behind the scenes. All right, so we just gotta place ourselves in position to be able to properly administrate. All right, and so that there is no more dread of checking the mail. Any questions? Because we are at the finish line of today's session. We got about 10 more minutes to go. We hope that this was helpful, that this was beneficial. Was this beneficial? Y'all have to let us know. Because we always want to make sure that we're coming up and providing quality content, right? Things that are helping you all to think, things that make you say, that's what we're here for, to edify the body. All right. So was this helpful? You have to let us know. Let me check the comments here. Yeah. She said, what? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
And she spelled it WHUUUTT.
Listen, Nadiva and I are always researching, studying. We have been doing this for years. And we're connecting dots from 15 years ago to what we know today.
Yes.
And when we start connecting dots, stuff starts happening.
Yes.
Stuff
Okay.
starts happening.
The question is, what section in 18 USC deals with legal tender? This is it. I pulled it up before. It's going to be 18 USC 8. Obligation or other security of the United States defined. The term obligation or other security of the United States includes all bonds, certificates of indebtedness, national bank currency, Federal Reserve notes, Federal Reserve bank notes, coupons, United States notes, Treasury notes, gold, certificates, silver certificates, fractional notes, certificates of deposit, bills, checks, or drafts for money drawn by or upon authorized officers of the United States, stamps and other representatives of value of whatever denomination issued under any act of Congress, and cancel United States stamps. There you go.
So when you do,
USC 8.
thank you. So when you do purchase a house, purchase a car, whatever it is you decide to purchase, you sign a security agreement. You have to know that with your signature, the debt is paid.
Yep.
You have to know that. What you do when you leave the table means everything. You have to know how to handle your business. If not, you will remain the surety for the debtor. Now, let me say this. Put this in perspective. Our Heavenly Father is a creditor. Lucifer was once in heaven. He was a creditor as well. But he fell from grace into a debtor position, into a debtor land full of sin. So you have to ask yourself, who am I? Am I the creditor created in the image of my Heavenly Father? Or will I continue to be held down as a surety for a debtor? You have to decide that. We can't decide that for you. If you want to remain in that debtor position with the original debtor, then you stay there. Suffer with him. Continue to suffer for lack of knowledge. But if you want to come out of that title, out of that position, Out of that surety, then you want to talk to us so we can show you the path to come away from that, to separate from that, and then place you in a receivership mode where you are receiving, not paying out. It's that simple. One decision changes everything. And what you don't know is hurting you severely. Because who wants to pay a mortgage payment for 30 years when it could be paid off in 30 days? That's the difference. That's the suffering. It's a financial, oppressive suffering. And it not only affects you, but it affects generations after you, your children, grandchildren, on down the line. Got to make a decision.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Well, everyone, we have reached, and you know, Mikhail and I were discussing this as it relates to this particular series. As it relates to this particular series, we have reached the conclusion of the Genesis Gateway Roundtable Discussions, the Financial Woes of Babylon series. So this is going to be the last one of the series. The series was brought to you by BWS Ministries, powered by Rady Nation Trust. You can find us out there pretty much everywhere: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. We're all over. You're going to want to watch out for the next series coming up, because we will be picking up another series. This is the end of this particular series, but this is not the end of our journey teaching online. All right, but this series, we're going to go ahead and close off strong with this particular series. As it relates to the financial woes of Babylon, there's been a lot of great information that's been brought out over the past 9 weeks. 9 weeks. And so you're going to want to get connected. You will want to get connected. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop some email addresses here, okay? Some email addresses. First email address is going to be info, I-N-F-O, at readynationtrust.com. That's info at readynationtrust.com. The telephone number to dial in if you have questions, comments. We're going to give the 800 number. You can call the office Monday through Friday. It's 800-889-4714. That's 1-800-889-4714. And I'm going to give a second email address just in case for some reason, we have a ticket in right now with our tech support on the main link. If for whatever reason you send an email and it bounces back, go ahead and send an email to general.manager11@proton.me. general.manager11@proton.me. You want to go ahead and shoot us an email. And let me give you the address to the website. And someone is asking on TikTok, they said, do you help with setting up trust? Yes, we do. Let me go ahead and drop the link for you all. I'm going to drop the link to the website. You can go ahead and go to the website, check us out. The website is bwsministries.com. bwsministries.com. If you go ahead and click the link, if you pull it up on your phone or computer, you're going to see a blue box in the upper right hand corner. and you're going to click on products and services. And when you go ahead and click on products and services, you can see the portfolio of services that we currently offer. All right, you can go ahead and do that. All right, bwsministries.com. So you have an email address, you have a telephone number, you have a website. Now, if you have questions on the website, as soon as you go to the website, there's going to be a little customer service assistant bot down in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. If you have questions, you're going to want to go ahead and ask those questions. It is going to ask you for your email address and telephone number. Go ahead and put in your telephone number if you want somebody to call you. Don't give us a fake email address, please, and a fake telephone number. If you really want help, then just put your information in so that we can contact you, so that we can just have a conversation. All right. We are also located on Telegram. All right. But, just go ahead and reach out to us through the mediums that we've just described, and we will definitely get back to you. If you go to the website, you'll automatically be able to see how much it is for trust services. Right. But see, here's the thing. You want to make sure that you're placed in proper position. And so many of the times with what people are dealing with out here is going to require some sort of correction of the record. All right. So, the services that we provide is not a one size fits all type scenario. There is some custom work that may need to be done. It just depends on your situation. It really, 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 really just depends. And one of the other things that I want to stress is definitely get your education up. So when you go to the website, you'll see that there are some free courses that you can take. There's some free courses. All right. So just be discerning and just, definitely pray about it and make sure that however you choose to move forward, that's what the Most High is actually positioning you to do. That is very important. All right, Mikhail, did you want to add anything before we close?
There was a question in the chat, so I guess you're...
Oh, did I miss it? How do you know? Are you broadcasting, Evelyn? Okay, so if you're watching from a YouTube channel, you're going to want to go ahead and contact the administrator of the YouTube channel that you're watching this from. Go ahead and contact the administrator. And also, down in the comment section of that particular video, you should see a link that you can click on where you can follow to get more information. So if you click the link and you put in your telephone number and you put in your email address, we'll know where they came from. We'll know where you came from, and we'll know which site you came from. We'll know. Trust me. But when you come to us directly, you have to be able to tell us where you saw the broadcast, on what YouTube channel, because we're going to ask you. We will ask you. Does that answer your question? Or we'll ask them. Evelyn, does that answer your question? Okay. All right. Yeah, I didn't realize that y'all were still broadcasting because so much I won't go there. But anyway, any final thoughts before we close?
Anybody have any questions before we close? And if you do want more information, you can reach out to us about certain information that we have shared with you. Reach out to Mikhail or Nadiva, and we can talk about that. Certain information that's not readily available to everyone.
That's right. That's right. Just know, either way, you're gonna want to remember where you saw the broadcast, but definitely just reach out. Check your spam boxes because you may be getting emails from us that may be going to spam. All right. If you really want to connect, you'll find a way to connect. That's pretty much how it is. You will find a way. but definitely check your spam folders because we have been getting reports that some of our emails are going to spam. We don't know why the system keeps flagging our emails as spam because we really don't send out a lot of emails at all, really. Unless you're coming in for a very specific purpose, you'll get emails from us, but for the most part, no. But yeah, just go ahead and reach out to us if you're interested in moving forward in any capacity, right? And we'll get you taken care of. So with that being,
hold on to those dollar bills.
Yeah, don't let these people dupe you out of giving up your paper money. You need to keep those.
Keep them dollar bills.
Keep those dollar bills.
They're more valuable than you realize.
All right. Oh man, if y'all just knew what we knew. But anyway, we enjoyed. This was a really good session, Mikhail.
Yeah, it definitely was. Looking forward to the next
series.
Correct.
Yes, looking forward to the next series. So we thank you all so much again. Shalom Barakatah to all of you out there. That means peace and blessings onto you. We thank you so very much for joining us on tonight's call. The next series more than likely is going to start within the next week or 2 weeks. You just want to look out for those notifications to come. Just watch the boards and watch your emails. We'll send out the information accordingly for the next series. You definitely want to check the TikTok channel, check the Instagram for BWS and Radio Nation Trust. So we're going to be pretty much moving forward. Just stay connected and subscribe. You want to make sure that you subscribe to the channels. You want to follow the TikTok. You want to follow the Instagram. You want to follow Facebook, YouTube. Yeah, just stay connected and you'll receive notifications. We will post well enough in advance to give people the time to know when the next series is going to start. All right. It was fun. It was a joy. We thank you all so very much. We thank you for taking out the time with us every pagan Sunday for the last 9 weeks. We appreciate you so much because we know that you could have been somewhere else doing something else. And we hope and pray that everyone is able to make a reasonably informed decision on how they wish to move forward. But we got to tell you, whatever decisions you make, you want to make them quick because things are rapidly changing out there. They're rapidly changing and things can get very chaotic very fast. You all saw what happened this past week. So it's time to put ourselves in position to move forward. There's no more time to waste. There's no more time. We're out of time now. So whatever it is that you're going to do, just go ahead and do it. We know that you all got them tax refunds coming in. We hope that you are, we hope and pray that you have a plan for whatever refunds you got coming in. We hope that you have a plan in place and not just be planning to spend money on TVs, cars, and not saying that people may not need transportation, but if you're looking to move forward with any sort of status correction or trust technology, utilize your returns wisely. And we'll just leave it there. All right, Mikhail, you want to close us out?
Sure. Father in heaven, we thank you for this time. Thank you for the series. Thank you for the interactions. Thank you for your presence. We look forward to the plan that you have for us on the table, the next series, the next chapter. And as we move forward, we pray for each and every one who has come on the calls, that they have received some knowledge, some information that would change their life. We pray that we shared information that would open their eyes, and we look forward to interacting with them in the future with your help, with your guidance, with your presence. So we thank you, Father. We thank you, Son. In all things we give you thanks. Salah.
So be it.